Is it good?
Okay. Just been shared with that thing else.
No, just with you.
Yeah, it's got every
Concerns
problem.
about it. I'll think of something to discuss.
I try
No, I
to do it. Yeah, sometimes when she gets the agenda or something like that, yeah. You're right. She's double booked today.
We're gonna have enough bids.
Probably some sort of vote. I mean, it's not that big a deal to walk over the first button.
But I never forget, that's the thing. Do not pay attention to the clock. Oh. It's not daylight savings adjusted.
I did that with my alarm clock, I just didn't set it through the winter, so now it's back to being right.
Okay, there you go.
I did the same thing in my
Well,
car.
so, yep.
Well, it's so old that it doesn't set really.
I just don't know how.
Yeah, I attached the, you saw that, I highlighted it for you. Did you see? Yeah. So it's here, here, and here, the three properties.
I didn't even know they had any issues. That's where I thought.
Yeah, well, when I saw Superfund site, when the town got,
Comments we should be making.
pause and.
Maybe you can bring it up.
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe you can bring it up on your, because it fell under the.
It's
sort
that
of
little triangle.
protection. That's who warned us about it.
It goes all the way
Or
down to
informed us
203.
about it.
Yeah.
Rhonda.
It goes all the
And
way.
across Furnace Road.
Moved us up so we don't mess with that.
It's the old
That was
boundary,
Ford.
Is it the one that met it at now?
That's across the street.
glasses.
It was
Eagles are making their
there,
moves.
like,
What's the deal with safety? What's the big hype?
pink and down in
Yeah,
residential.
in my opinion, they messed up. They had a good run, they had a Swift.
Yeah.
He went to Chicago, I guess.
Yeah,
Did he go to Chicago?
Yeah, underneath.
And then they signed, what's his name from the Chance defensive?
Got things in there years ago.
Yeah.
Little Cox
But
retired.
then he got retrained on
Oh, the Chiefs are making moves too.
I almost had to make moves too down there.
I heard, I talked to her about that.
Were you in the area?
Was I near it?
Yes.
The other side, basically.
Yeah.
Too close.
We actually started, as soon as they were done talking, we started walking back to the car.
Yeah,
The cops and everything were running like we were going the other way.
yeah, I had family in the park, so.
You probably know that.
But I stopped taking it after 3 weeks.
Some stuff.
The jungle's blood.
He's injury prone. He's been hurt. He's been hurt the last 3 years. High ankle sprain.
How are you?
Alright.
He gets high ankle sprains almost every year. You know, so. A lot of money around there. Put out a lot of money to sign. Yeah. Clifford said too, extension.
Oh, yeah.
No
man's land the last. Now, that was how it was when it came before, it was just sitting there.
My wife said, how come Cox didn't do a big speech like it? My wife said, how come Cox didn't do a big speech? Like, I think he was pretty good. Would you have to go like, I mean, couldn't you just walk out. And that's
But
a
I-
big
I'm
deal.
only
But he's in.
Well,
Alright. Call the meeting to order, pledge to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stacy, would you mind taking roll call, please?
Ms. Cook? Present. Ms. Falcone? Here. Mr. Haney?
Here.
Ms. Hassler?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Mr. Kalinsky?
Here.
Mr. Stout?
Here.
Mrs. Stout? Here.
Thank you. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes from Monday, February 12th? Any questions? I'd be looking for a motion to approve the minutes of February 12th.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to communications.
There are none.
Are no communications, okay. Guy?
I guess the only thing, the other Sunday when it was pretty nice out, there was a bunch of people on the walking path, so it's getting used. It was good to see.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Alright. Please report.
Good evening, everybody. I'll do a recap of our February 2024 Cleveland Police information here. We had 964 patrol miles, 95 hours of patrol hours, 18 incident reports, which took 5 hours. We had 1 crash investigation. We issued 25 citations, 22 hours of traffic checks, 3 hours dedicated to paperwork, 22 traffic stops, 10 hours of criminal investigation or follow-up work, 2 hours of court time. Some of the highlight things. And on the 5th, we responded to home and center out for check for juveniles walking on railroad tracks. Juveniles took off prior to our arrival. On the 5th, trespass by motor vehicle. Borough residents regarding the neighbor using the complainant's yard as a shortcut. And I only wanted the neighbor given a warning. On the 20th, weapon violation, our detective was assigned a case for an unauthorized person attempting to purchase a firearm in the borough, and charges were filed. The citations we issued, their breakdown is were 6 for speeding, 2 school zone violations, 2 inspection violations, 1 obedience to traffic control device violation, and 14 parking citations. Our newest part-time officer, Officer James Pollock Jr., completed his field training program, and now he's covering shifts everywhere. Projected activities, we have coffee with a cop and a fraud seminar scheduled for Wednesday, April 3rd at 9:30 in the community center. So, does anybody have any concerns or questions for me that I can take back to the department or the chief?
Could you fill us in on the nature of the criminal investigation or complaints, or you had mentioned some hours for criminal?
I don't have a breakdown of what, anything, and that could be anything from a criminal, a minor vandalism to, let me see here. The incident reports, that would be just a response. That could be anything from someone requesting information, from directions to responding to an alarm, a burglar alarm or another alarm. That's what the incident reports. There's 18 of them, it took 5 hours. And as far as the follow-up criminal investigation work, that was 10 hours by Detective Merkel, and I'm not sure what he was following up, but he follows up on anything what the patrol officers send him that maybe needs to be followed up. including like the gun violation where he made an arrest, so that'll be included.
That would be considered criminal.
Yeah, that's actually probably a felony if you try to purchase a firearm and you're not allowed to, so.
Thank you.
Any, other comments or anything, or problem areas or anything anyone wants addressed? Okay, well, if you have anything, at any other time, please call us, let us know, and we'll try to address it. Okay. All right, thank you,
Have a
appreciate
good
it.
night.
Take care.
Have a good
See you.
Alright, we will move on to the solicitor.
Oh, you skipped hearing visitors?
Oh, yeah, sorry, hearing a visit. Anybody have anything they'd like to share? Ask.
Can I see a copy of the minutes that were approved? Is that asking too much?
You can have mine.
Since we know.
Sure.
Alright, now we'll move on to the solicitor.
Okay, so first I have an ordinance to be enacted by council tonight, which repeals the obligation of residents to shovel snow to create a path over their lawn. This ordinance has been advertised properly in early March, so it's appropriate for enactment tonight.
So we'd be looking for a motion to approve ordinance, or adopt ordinance 3-2024.
I'll make that motion. Or I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
No,
Opposed?
Opposed?
Next on my list of topics is the polling place agreement with the county. When I have read the agreement, we meet all the requirements concerning the facilities for polling place. So that's also appropriate to be authorized for signing tonight.
Does anybody have any questions on this one?
I had a question, just wanted to mention, this is an old copy of the old agreement.
Correct,
Old information, just for our knowledge to see what it looks
correct.
like.
Yeah.
So you can compare if you needed to.
The only question is whether the council wants to permit signs at the polling place or not. It has this discretion.
What kinds, you mean,
The
The political
the
signs,
temporary
elect
sign.
whoever signs. Anybody have thoughts on that?
I don't have a problem with the signs.
I don't either,
Been doing it that way
for however long.
We have guidelines, Stacy, for how many days in advance they're allowed to put things in.
We do not currently have a sign ordinance other than that's involved in our zoning ordinance, and that has to do with commercial signage.
I believe there's rules in the actual running for a campaign too, you're not allowed to.
you have to pick them up within so many.
Yeah,
days.
I don't know what they are off the top of my
That
head, but I
Sunday
do
in
think that
advance or the
is.
day of, or, yeah, okay, thank you.
Alright, so if we're all in agreement, then we'd be looking for a motion to,
Authorize the execution.
authorize the execution of the polling place agreement.
I'll make that motion.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed?
And I guess I'll defer to Stacy with regard to an update on the labor negotiations.
So I received, the economic proposal from Brian Taylor and forwarded it to council as well as, council's solicitor, Mr. Goldman. There was an additional email today with no attachment, so there are follow-up changes from Mr. Taylor prior to council probably reviewing the final version. So that's the status. Currently, our next meeting will be the 22nd of March, which is a Friday.
At 9 AM.
Correct.
Alright, thank you, Colin.
Well, if we don't have all that they want yet, I don't know that we should be agreeing to a date.
Well, we set the meetings just to have something in the books to be able to use. It kind of sets a timeline for us as well. I would suggest that we all get together in executive session between now and the 22nd to discuss, and then hopefully at least have some sort of conversation with Mr. Ballin, whether we can arrange it in person or Zoom or just a couple people conveying what we all feel. before the 22nd would be great.
Who will be in attendance for that meeting?
How do you guys feel? Do you wanna go with the same people, you know, or do you wanna have,
You mean as far as for the negotiation meeting?
That meeting on the 22nd, I'd like to know who's gonna be there.
As
Do
to
we
the
have a
best
list
of
of
my
people
knowledge,
that are gonna, the 3 that are gonna be there, because it can't be more than that?
Right, that meeting cannot have more than 3.
I thought we had agreed that it'd be Ethan, Carol, and myself again, we would stay with the same 3.
if that's what we're in agreement on, we can do that.
Yeah, I thought in that email we had agreed to that.
Well, that's really for discussion, I mean, if that's okay with everybody.
I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, none of this is gonna come, you know, to fruition without all of us sitting down at some point anyway, so.
Did you wanna quickly hammer out a date to do the executive session?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Just
When
that
is-
way, we don't have to email it around.
Right.
I mean, for us, I think the only thing that we can't do is this Wednesday, outside of that. So,
I don't have anything pending, so if you guys have,
the 22nd is the next.
I think there's a, when would we go on?
Thursday.
This Thursday?
21st,
Oh, that's one, oh, so
The
that's
day
the
before.
21st, okay.
yeah.
So which would be preferable, before the 22nd or after? After the 22nd, we would hopefully have everything that Mr. Taylor intends to present.
Well, we have everything that he has now, I mean, that's the presentation we've been given, you know.
But she got an email today saying there's more stuff coming.
Minor revisions.
If the purpose is to discuss strategy going into that meeting, then you wanna have it before.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if they change something last minute, we'll just delay things for them on their
Well,
side.
strategy would involve our lawyer. Are we looking at an executive session including him?
Yes.
No, I would think we would do 2 separate meetings. We would meet and then discuss.
Because we're not gonna discuss a strategy without a lawyer, or consultant. So if we're meeting, it would just be for us to talk about what was given to us?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I think we need to go over it and decide what's important and what's not and all that before we meet with the attorney, so we're not racking up time, just
Right.
going through the agenda for the first
But
time.
he has
Some of it
the
concerns
wisdom.
business decisions ultimately.
well, he does, yes, and that's why we need to consult him, but the point is, we're going at it from what we want to happen. You know, we have to have our
can
goals, and
Say
he's
this is,
the one to help us achieve them, you know, not decide them for us, you know.
So do you think we should do it sooner than like?
I think if we can, I have too much time,
Or
next
Monday?
Monday would work for
I was just
me.
gonna say Monday.
actually, Monday.
Monday works.
If that works for everybody, we can do Monday and maybe about
That's the
6.
18th.
Yeah, the 18th.
6 o'clock.
That way, I can be here at 6, but
Doesn't that push you, Michelle?
Sorry.
we can make it 6:30. I don't think
Six is fine.
these I don't think are gonna be 2-hour meetings, you know, it's not that thick of a proposal.
So just be sure to announce that session at your next. meeting.
Yes. All right. Anything else regarding that, guys?
Have you motioned to approve the appointment of those people attending the 22nd meeting in the past?
We never really made a
Okay.
motion, it was
That's
just
not
who,
necessary.
yeah, it was just who was available. All right, then, Borough Manager.
So we are continuing to work with our auditors. They have issued a draft of the year-end 12/31/2022 audit to us today. So that's very close to being completed and over a year later. So they're very soon to be giving us a draft of the 2023. They will probably have to do more on-site work for that, as well as the single audit. We are completing our 2023 recycling reports. We are also completing the Affordable Care Act reporting for 2023, and as of this year, any employer with more than 10 submissions of documents that are informational, and W-2s are considered informational, must do this electronically to the IRS, which incurs cost. So it incurs cost even to a small borough like ourselves. Reminder that Norfolk Southern is going to be having major closures for multiple days in length on Main Street and Home Avenue crossings. And beware of the delays and the detours, there will be detours. We obtained quotes for the shingle part of the roof on the Public Works building, and they will be starting work tomorrow. They were supposed to start today, but delayed because of the winds. We were interviewing the wastewater treatment plant operator, Public Works position candidates over the last few weeks. More on that later in the agenda. We are prepping the park, as well as the fields for softball and baseball, in cooperation with softball and baseball. And we will hopefully be unwinterizing all the bathrooms, restrooms, and snack stands if necessary, with softball, over the course of the next few days because of the weather breaking so nicely. And the drinking water plant's new generator has been installed but hasn't completely passed to final completion of the project because it has to be tested, and that includes communication testing with the softwares. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks.
All right, committee reports, Carol, so.
Okay, for, getting the signs for protecting our source water, information was sent. That had already been sent, but somehow, was not being acted upon, so Charlie got involved and called in Mr. Gonzalez. And apparently Mr. Gonzalez has gotten things moving a little bit, not to say that we have a date for any such nice thing as that, but it seems that there's some more correspondence at least now, so at some point in time, hopefully that'll be happening. I thought I would mention, and I don't know, Charlie, if you would be called in on this or how this should work. We have land, 3 parcels of land currently owned privately that come under polluted land sites where well water has been affected and whatnot. And there's 3 COAs currently, agreements to sell to other people. We have a 60-day period to comment if we would like to, as far as having these parcels of land sold. And I have no idea whether we care if it's sold or not.
To be clear though, Carol, that's public comment, that's not us as a borough entity.
Well, I think, right, but I think the borough should also, if Charlie knows of a reason, should we be commenting?
So they, both the seller, the buyer, since it's a known, will have due diligence requirements, the phase 1, potential phase 2, so liability transfer with the sale that goes with it. I'm assuming because it's public knowledge that they're doing that between the 2 bodies. That's one of the things we do for quite a few folks. And then it gets into, when they get to the use, that's where your zoning and rules come into effect on what they can do and the danger. Not necessarily, I've never objected to the sale of a property.
Right.
It's been largely when they come in to do a use on it. That's when that will generally come into play. Because often you'll have a sale of a blighted property to somebody who has the funds to do something about the blight. And that's contamination or whatever. So it may be that the current owner doesn't have the will or the money to deal with it.
No, this is, if you look at the listing,
Yeah, I didn't see.
so it's GMI,
Ah,
graphite machining, advanced carbon, and
so it's the ball field.
the ball field across the street.
So that one, know that your pump station that we're gonna have out to bid this year is on easement on that property. It's not a plot of land, it is an easement. So it's still the, I mean,
So do we know, are they planning on closing up shop then, or selling it?
This is the first we've heard directly from DEP.
yeah, but it's recorded, the easement's recorded and it's all there, so your rights don't change on a property transfer. There's no issue there for you.
Thank you.
And we're staying in the easement for construction, so
So that's not an issue.
that's not an issue.
Great, thank you. That's all I would have.
Okay, thank you. Elaine?
Okay, so for personnel and policy, first on the list here is Public Works, wastewater treatment operator. The update on that is that we interviewed and we found a qualified applicant. His name's Kyle Roth. And he was sent a letter, an offer letter, and has accepted the position subject to our approval. So this would be for starting March 18th, pending our approval, at a starting wage of $22.25 per hour. And when he completes his probationary period, he will receive an additional 50 cents per hour. And he will receive an additional $1 per hour upon his successful completion of the wastewater operator coursework training and certification. And the salary recommendation was from Stacy. And so I'd like to ask if there's any questions.
I'm a little surprised there was an offer before we accepted it.
Well, it was sent out, and basically saying if we approved it. I'm trying to get it jump-started, time-wise. So if we approve,
The offer already went out.
contingent upon us approving it.
It's just not normally the way we do it.
How long is the probationary period?
6 months.
6 months.
Now, he doesn't have any certifications at all.
He does not currently have any certification. He has
And
about
what-
6
what were
months
we paying Sean?
experience.
The same as we're offering him,
$22.30 per hour.
and Sean had all those qualifications already
No,
Achieved his certification, yes.
at that rate. So we're giving somebody that doesn't have any certifications, the same,
Experience.
or the
Yes,
same
experience.
as,
Years of experience with water and
Said he
sewer.
had
he has
6
he has a 6 months experience in operating a wastewater treatment plant, but he has over 17 years experience in public works, and he's got a variety of experience in the other areas of maintenance that we need, that we utilize that position for.
do we pay for the training, correct? His training to get his certs?
Currently, yes.
Something doesn't sound right. Paying him more than what we did, and we have to certify him than what we had.
Well,
To the extent that council has questions about hiring this person, we can recess for an executive session.
I mean, I realize we gotta help Alex out, but
Yeah.
doesn't sound like the right way to
this
do
was
it.
based on the salary of Sean, and looking at, now Sean had 5 years' experience. And he was not certified when he started, I don't think. And he gained about 5 years' experience in the job while he was here.
I understand, but he didn't start at that rate.
That recommendation was from Stacy after they interviewed him. So,
I'm telling everybody, not just you.
I'm just saying, just so you know.
And again, we should have a discussion before an offer was made.
Well, we are having a
not-
discussion, we can have a discussion in executive session about it.
Understood, but it already went out to him. That's what I'm saying.
So what does everyone think? I mean, if you've already got the offer on the table, if it came back different. How do we wanna proceed, I suppose, we wanna take this to executive session and,
That's what I would like to do.
okay.
Okay, then should I move on and then we can
Yeah.
see if there's any other issues we can discuss? So then secondly, our part-time administrative assistant secretary has given notice to leave. And I'd like to thank Terry for her service, and I would like to offer her an exit interview, as I did with Alex, as per our policy. I would like to make a motion to accept her notice of resignation.
I'll make the motion.
So I made the motion, you would want to second it?
Oh, yeah,
Is that
I'll
what you're
second
saying?
it.
Effective when?
Effective now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 3 here, I'd like to ask that the council authorize our manager to advertise this position as soon as possible. A draft of the ad was emailed to each of you. Do you have any questions? Did you see that?
Yeah, good to me.
I only have the, that with taking that one word out and, exchanging that for another one.
You saw the edit, the revised.
Yeah, that's the only thing that maybe take out the degree part.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, those were the only 2 things that other than that, the ad was kind of good.
And I also made the revision that Mrs. Stout suggested.
And I'd like to make a motion that we, if we have to allow Stacy to advertise that part-time position.
With those revisions, so.
We have a motion moving for it.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Number 4 on my list has to do with a policy. So, the CDC, Center of Disease Control, has updated their thoughts on COVID and COVID-related illnesses. So, as of March the 1st, they're ending the 5-day stay home after testing positive. We have a policy, I'm not sure if this policy is going to involve our negotiations with Teamster, because this was a health-related policy that was put into place back in February of 2021. Because at that point, we were in the midst of all that was going on with COVID, and we complied at that time. Actually, with the policy, we weren't required to have, it looks like, so our policy that we have in place talks about doing wellness checks prior to coming to work every day. If you have a temperature above 104 degrees, what you have to do. Exposure is defined here, and 3 days with no fever, and then we also, at least 10 days since the first symptom. A lot of this, the language in our policy has really, is kind of far from where we are today. So, back when the government instituted some policies that we adopt, it was really required for employers that had 25 or more employees. And if an employee was unable to work because of exposure to COVID, and there was no paid available time, they were eligible for unemployment compensation. Our policy that we currently have says an employee will receive up to 2 weeks or 80 hours of sick pay.
Would you like to take action on that policy? or-
Not tonight, but I think that we should do something
We
to,
need to rescind it.
we need to-
In full.
yes,
This one
we,
doesn't exist
yes,
anymore,
exactly, we
right?
need to retract it. I mean,
As far as
today
the
was for
CDC or anything
conversation,
else.
but if you wanna act on it, we certainly can, there's nothing holding us back. I just didn't wanna spring it on you all at once, I wanted to give you a little information. I don't see that it's really something we need to have at this point in time.
Can I say something about that? Wouldn't that have all ended when the public emergency ended last May? Couldn't you just indicate that's when that would have ended? Because that's when they changed all that.
Well,
It was
said-
no longer considered public health emergency. Trying to make it simple for you.
Yeah, that's true. It was what.
Yeah. That's all you would really have to amend to that. That all went away when it was no longer considered public health emergency back in May of 2023.
Policy says, does it have an
The
expiration?
policy doesn't have an expiration, I don't believe.
Couldn't you just add that? I mean, that's really,
Can we just vote to rescind it right now?
Yeah.
I'm
Or
okay,
do we have
I'm
to-
okay with
Well-
that, but if we're gonna retroact to it, then what about people that had COVID and they shouldn't have gotten paid if they had COVID in the last?
I don't think.
I'm not going back to
Yeah,
all
you
that.
can't
I don't
do
think we
it.
can do that, I don't think we can do that, that's
You
what
can
I'm
do it
saying, so,
prospectively.
so I would say that we should make it.
I would advise waiting until next meeting because you have on the agenda, you're listed as information only.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll put it, it's not really affecting us either
Yeah.
way, so we'll put it on the agenda for next month.
Okay. And then, let me see here, if there's anything else. Okay. And also, I'd like to request an executive session at some point, it's not urgent, just to discuss a personnel matter and to review our personnel policies. I have some concern that the council may have not followed the requirements of the Borough Code. So that's something that I wanted to
But we're meeting Monday.
council, whenever we're gonna meet, or if we're gonna do then, that's fine.
Okay.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Elaine. Dan, anything?
No report.
Then we will move on to finance, Kathy.
Okay, I'd like to request a motion to approve the bills and transfers as presented, council.
I'll make the motion.
I had a question, Kathy, and maybe, I don't know if you can answer this, Stacy, maybe you can, Miller's Sanitary Service, for 2370, what was that for?
They do our hauling for, the sewage
Okay,
plant.
that's what, I was just wondering if that was.
And if we ever have blockages, they come and help us out as well.
Blockages where?
Anywhere throughout town.
Oh, okay, in the system, okay.
It's off the street.
They pump.
He's in the parking lot next to Matt's. He parked in the lot behind my house too.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion to approve the bills and transfers.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is me, I don't really have too much, nothing's been going on too much, except that TCOC's, sausage sandwich season is kicked off. They're the first one, they got delayed by a day, but, so keep your eyes out for that, they need that to help put on the parade and stuff.
Ethan, is there a date for the Friday of Topton?
The, what is it, 20th, the Earth Day weekend, I forget.
Is it March or April? I couldn't remember.
April.
April, around, Earth Day.
Yeah, the
Were
same.
we given a list of the special events yet?
Yeah.
We have.
I just don't
And
have
the
it,
dates?
I just don't have it in front of me, yeah.
Okay.
April 13th is responsible recycling, and then the 20th is tidy up.
20th, yeah, I thought it was
Yes,
the 20th.
yes.
Alright. That's all I got, so, Eric.
T-ball field, I met with Scott and Randy last week down at the new old T-ball field and kind of got it laid out somewhat where it's gonna go. And they were gonna start taking the new one apart to take over.
Gotcha.
So that's, weather permitting, gonna happen shortly, hopefully. The weather gives us a break. And so that's where we are with that, and it's happening. The pool parking lot, I'm not sure, Stacy, would that be the next project for them, or?
I think it all depends
Well,
on information that we need for the project as
So we'll
well as
have
time.
the E&S plan, which shows the area this week.
So, yeah, so that will follow. The next is, logging of the watershed. Did you guys see in the packets? What I would like to recommend, get your approval, is for the Schultz Forest Management and Consulting.
What is it about this one that you're recommending this one for?
This one has been in contact with me a couple times and explaining a lot where the others, you know, sent things and didn't follow it up and do anything. This one has no upfront cost.
I was gonna say, I didn't see anything in there. He doesn't have-
15%
That's
of
it.
the total harvest, and he's looking to do everything. You can see in his report here where one guy said, we don't have many mature trees up there.
Yeah.
This guy said, yeah, you do.
His diagram was very helpful as well.
Yes.
To see what type of tree is where in the watershed.
And he would like to get started next month. With the marking of the trees and things. I mean, it's still a long process till anything would happen, but that's gonna take quite a while to walk those 180 acres and delineate where he can cut and can't cut and what he's going to cut.
What timeline, how long?
How long?
To get-
I didn't ask him. I will, if we give him approval to do it, we'll get a contract from him. I'd like to get him in here to meet, maybe next month, if we approve this, and get a contract all signed and ready to go with him. But I just wanted to give you my recommendation, but it's up to everybody. That's the way we'd like to go.
I like that proposal better too. I mean, just from the communication
It's
level.
much more
you said,
thorough and detailed.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt that he's not asking for almost $2,000 right up front, just to see what he, feels like doing.
Right. I think he will have a higher yield, which means more money for us than the other forestry.
As John explained, it was a professional service.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's done elsewhere.
So, yes,
They both work.
That way, but business just coming out of.
Well, no.
You know what I mean? If you ever see dollar on that.
Charlie, what you know is 15% of the
That's,
money.
that's standard.
I was in the range, you can get a lower expense on that percentage if you pay him up front
Okay,
for the work, but what he's doing that on risk, cause you aren't guaranteed to go out, so.
The other proposal mentioned the same, about 12 to 15%, and he said he
Plus
thought
up front.
that, plus up front, he said that 15 is what he'd be expecting in this case. Yeah.
And if you control how much in the end you harvest, he's gonna give you a value and recommendation,
Right, yeah.
but, yeah.
He just, to me, made me feel confident that he
Yeah.
knows what he's talking about.
Well, Scott said the same thing, the first guy who showed up acted like he didn't really want to do this.
I mean, I haven't met him, I've just talked to him over the phone. so.
I mean, for me, the hope is the sooner we get it going,
Yeah.
the sooner we'll have an idea of what that
What?
number is, and hopefully we'll have it for when we're doing next year's budget.
Excuse me, is there gonna be a limit, like in the springs and stuff, where you say that?
Yeah, all that gets delineated.
Okay,
He has to do that just for permits.
okay.
Yeah, there's best practices for his industry and everything.
There's a lot of hoop jumping on his
Cause
part.
there is quite a few springs up there.
Yeah.
Almost 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be areas where they cannot go in, and he actually knows. I send him a map.
Okay.
did he give you any idea how many requests for bid he puts out?
I think he works with the same companies pretty much all the time, so I'm sure he has his favorites like most everybody does, and who's available.
If we only got one bid, would we have to take it?
Well, it'd be from him.
Well, he's
No,
gonna subcontract.
We're
it out.
choosing him, he's gotta go.
He's,
Yeah.
Subcontractors.
Was it he goes to the bids, yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah,
No, I think he has to put it out to bid.
To the logging companies.
Yeah, I think he has to go through a public bid,
is that the way he
Yeah,
is?
it has to be, cause it's over 21, whatever, thousand. Yeah, so he's got that in there, she said. So it has to be a publicly bid process. Yeah, unfortunately for you, that's,
then they're gonna do
That's
an
not
ES plan
professional
and all
service.
that stuff.
But his team does all the marking.
yes, yeah, that's the professional service that you're getting.
They let them know what has to be cut. They'll inventory everything.
Yeah, we have a forester, an ecosystem restoration specialist, and a forestry technician. So we have 3.
So if we are vastly disappointed with any bids that come in, and we say, no, we wanna let it grow another 5 years, do we owe anything?
Well, we're gonna have to see what the contract says though, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a proposal,
This is a
so the
proposal,
official
so-
contract would say specifically what the details of the.
Well, you should spell that out to you, and you should know those terms, yeah. In the previous ones, if they didn't charge it up front, they didn't get until you had somebody going through the contract. If it's a percent of that contract, that's where they
Right,
get it.
because of,
Yeah.
we don't have anything cut, there's no 15% of anything, so I just didn't know it.
That's like I said, that's why he's taking a risk.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think
You want me
we're,
to contact him tomorrow and?
yeah, I think we should
We need
move
a
forward.
motion.
Yeah, we'll make a, minute of that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
You need the contract.
Is that contingent upon the parties agreeing upon the terms of the contract?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, so we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?